in disbelief. The only thing that got to me, outside of everything that has happened with the media, the only thing that got to me in all of this is Latoya's lies.
We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. Of course, we are doing it the African way every day, every time. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk about the reactions of South Africans, white South Africans, black South Africans towards Trump. Recently, tension have escalated between Donald Trump and between the United States and South Africa due to actions taken by US President DTJ or Donald Trump concerning South Africa's land reform policies. President Trump signed an executive order halting all US aid to South Africa. He's cutting aids to South Africa, citing alleged human rights violation against white Afrikaners farmers or Boers. He criticized South Africa's new act, claiming it enables the government to seize land from white farmers without compensation.
So you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the back.
Government responded and they said, or they refused the allegation, asserting that the Expropriation Act aims to address historical land ownership disparities resulting from apartheid and colonialism. They emphasized that the law seeks to promote equitable land distribution and that private property rights remain protected. South African officials also highlighted that President Trump's portrayal of the law contains misinformation and dire stories.
We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied.
Now, additional, Trump has offered the Afrikaners or refugee status and resettlement in the US to white South Africans. He has offered a refugee to white South Africans, particularly Afrikaners, citing concerns of allegedly discrimination and violence. Now, after that, we have been having a lot of reactions. Julius Malema reacted and warned Donald Trump. I've seen some white South Africans reacting on this. Let's watch these videos and then we'll come back again and talk about it.
My name is Davy Wessels. President Trump, I see a lot of liberals wants to tell you what's going on in South Africa. Well, on ground level, our situation is dismal. And yes, you are correct in your assumption that South Africa is a failed state. We are experiencing a war-like situation with more than 22,000 people being murdered each year, hundreds of thousands of people being affected by crime each year. Thousands of our people and children are being murdered and raped on a daily basis. I'm a Boer and farmer, and since the ANC came into power, thousands of white farmers were murdered and tortured to death on their farms. This being actively encouraged by the EFF and ANC. People are dying in state hospitals, hallways, waiting for days to be admitted for standard procedures. All the while, the ANC cadre steals the money which is supposed to go to the needy. All state institutions are failing, and the woke liberal DA are the ones signing the expropriation law into power, since they are part of the ANC-led government. The situation is so bad currently that if a loved one doesn't answer their phone, you're immediately worried about what could have happened to them. The woke liberals and the ANC is trying to paint a rosy picture, but if you want our help in your investigation, we will show you the reality on ground level. We already gathered 50,000 signatures in 2 days in support of this message of us. And it is to be handed over in a huge gathering by our fellow Boers and Patriots Saturday the 15th at the US Embassy in Pretoria. This gathering is organized by myself and fellow Afrikaner Willem Petzer. We sincerely hope this message will reach you, and we want to thank the international community for their continued support.
Okay, listen, speaking as a South African, I think I can speak for a lot of us, maybe all of us, when I say, please don't send Elon Musk back. Like, also, please don't judge us by him. Like, we all have that, like, really weird, kind of messed up member of the family. You know what I mean? Every family's got that one nephew, you know, or that, like, dodgy uncle that comes to dinner, you know, and always, like, lingers a little too long on the hello kiss. Do you know what I'm saying? We all have that one dodgy member of the family. Elon Musk is South Africa's dodgy member of the family. He's like the uncle that you really don't want to invite to Christmas, but you kind of have to. Please keep him. America, you can keep him, or you can send him somewhere else, but like we don't really want him back here. Thank you. Thanks so much. Mzansi says hi.
Well, we're moving to America. Do you need help packing? Like, we'll come together, bro. I'll bring the boxes, the tape. I'll get some guys to come help. You know, we'll make a day of it. I'll fucking gladly pack your shit.
Donald J. Trump has got no business in South Africa. I don't know why he wants to get involved with anything with regards to South African politics or our household problems or whatever. I mean, it's like Ethiopia offering to go and sort out problems in the USA. Not that there's anything wrong with Ethiopia. It's a great country if you've ever been there, and I have. I'm just saying that one country shouldn't try and sort out the problems of another unless they ask you for that, and unless the majority of the people are behind you. So stay out of South Africa, and the people who support Donald Trump, you really should have a look at what's going on inside your hearts. It's not very good.
So apparently the Trump administration is going to allow white South Africans to seek asylum because they're mad because the majority black population is standing on business and taking back a lot of the stuff that the white South Africans were able to essentially create on their shoulders during the apartheid state. I wish Americans would just stop this pretense that it's not about brown people. It's about brown people. And I'm so exhausted by it. Because, like, if you could just say that out loud, no one was for this when it was brown people from south of the border trying to escape violence. No one was for this when it was black Africans trying to escape violence. No one was for this when it was brown Middle Eastern people trying to escape violence. But it's white South Africans escaping, getting their, giant pieces of farmland and their mansions taken by the government that they only have because of long-term subjugation. Oh no! Will we please think of the rich whites? You're too loud with the subtext. Just say what you mean. Like, that's the part I'm so exhausted about. Just say what you mean already. Save us all the struggle of, like, having to do this back and forth. Because we already know, you clearly know. Just say the real thing out loud. Say it's about brown people. Say it's about brown people.
So if you're in Cape Town and you want to move now to America, you're going to become a refugee, just let me know, please, because, like, property prices are high here, hey? And we can look after your houses for free. We'll look after your houses while you just move there.
Hi, my name is Jason Bartlett, and I'm a white South African. I currently live in the United States, and I came here illegally in 2019, and I pleaded for asylum. Now you ask yourself, why on earth would a white South African plead for asylum? Well, I'll give you a few reasons. South Africa is the rape capital of the world. It is one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world. It is, the current government systematically goes out and murders the white farmers. The very people that feed them are being tortured and brutally slaughtered on a daily basis. The rape capital of the world, the infant rape capital of the world. Now, you go onto social media and you, of course, just like America, we've got screaming liberals that have got a woke mind virus. and they will tell you that everything's honky-dory in South Africa. But they don't tell you that those are the multimillionaires who live in estates behind 10-foot fences that are electrified and paid security guards to monitor those areas for 24 hours. Just other side those fences, people can't stop at a stop sign after 7 o'clock at night. People can't go for a walk at 7 o'clock at night. Maybe a couple of men can go, but you know what? How about the women? They can't go anywhere when the sun sets. You can consider them raped, you can consider them abused, and you can consider them kidnapped. What happens in South Africa is pure evil. Now, I came to America, I came here legally, and I came and I established myself, and as a true South African, like Joe Rogan says, America needs more people that are not losers. And I'm not a loser. I came over here with a few $100s and a suitcase, and I've developed a career for myself. I'm now a superintendent of a golf course. I pay a lot of tax. I support the government. I support the American flag, and I support the American people. I also became a qualified pilot. I am in charge of a farmer's market, as well as I now run a 150-acre farm of my own, where I raise cattle and sheep, all grass-fed and all for the American people, because that's in my blood. That's what I do. And what the most detrimental part to my soul is the fact that people can stand up and say everything's okay in South Africa. Because that is my reality. I came here because I've been through some traumatic experiences, including myself and my wife. We've lost family members. We've lost people that we love. And the day-to-day basis of crime and atrocities that are happening in South Africa is something that we don't want to live with. We wanted to come to America, live the American dream, and by the grace of God, we have achieved that. And we're getting stronger and better. However, since 1652, the white people have been in South Africa. They've bought their land and they've acquired their land legally. And now, Cyril Ramaphosa, which is our pagan ANC leader, has signed into law expropriation of land without compensation. So if you're white, they can come up to you and tell you, hey, we want that land and we're going to take it and we're going to pillage it and we're going to rape the earth and we're not going to create food for anybody and you can't say anything about it. Zimbabwe 2.0. How did that work out? So this over here is just a video for you to understand that those white South Africans and white South African farmers are entitled to their land. They're entitled to what they have. They do not have to leave that country. They do not have to be forced to leave that country. So the wonderful country of the United States is always willing to help. They're always willing to help, always signing checks to places like Ukraine, places like Gaza, everything like that. The people that hate America get so much support. How about you take a look at a petition that my friend Willem Petzer and TV Wessels have put together, and they're going to go to the embassy this month, and they're going to hand it over, and you're going to see the hundreds of thousands of white farmers that support Donald Trump. We're not asking for handouts, but we are asking for intervention so people can rightfully keep their property, because no one's going to invest in a country that has expropriation without compensation. Nobody in their right minds would do that. So this is a message to Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, people like Joe Rogan need to share this far and wide, because you know why? That is illegal what they've done. It is unethical and it is incorrect. So how about we help the good people for a change?
We don't want to move elsewhere. We are not going to ask our children now to move to another country. The fact is, our ancestors worked hard to make sure that we as a people are formed down the southern tip of Africa. We're not going to disrespect that. We also have the interests of future generations in mind. We also have to make sure that our culture is transferred to future generations. And that cannot be done abroad. You cannot, in the long term, or there's a real risk, if you go to another country now, there's a real risk that your grandchildren will not say to you in the morning, hello, Opa. They would say something like, hi, granddad, or something in that.
It's a hot day in South Africa, and Donald Trump has just come on air to say that he has seen the terrible things going on in South Africa. I live here, and I haven't really seen the terrible things he speaks about. I'm continually amazed at the disinformation that this man sends. I'm amazed that anyone would believe him. We in South Africa are laughing. We honestly are. But what worries me most is that you Americans seem to believe him. Even statements about your own country, you believe that he's doing the best thing. I feel very sad for you and very down. I hope you can get this man out one way or the other. Goodbye.
Hey Afrikaners! Here are two things that you need to do to take advantage of Trump's new executive order on immigration. This order promotes the resettlement of Afrikaner refugees escaping racial tension sponsored by the government. Step 1, enter the United States, probably as a visitor. Step 2, apply for asylum within 1 year of arriving. To win asylum, you have to prove well-founded fear of persecution based on your race, your religion, your political opinion, or your membership in a particular social group. You have to explain why you're afraid to return to South Africa in those terms. Remember, the United States, to its credit, granted asylum to many anti-apartheid activists from South Africa in the 1980s. So there's history to support these claims. Do you have questions about this? Leave them in the comments below.
Welcome back. Now, whatever is happening to South Africa, seizing of land, taking lands, South Africa government is talking about the historical lands. And when you talk about the historical lands, these are lands that were taken to the rightful owners back then during apartheid, because the white people were taking lands from black people. Now, when white settlers were taking this land from black people, it was not an issue, okay? But right now, maybe the government is taking it back. It is becoming an issue simply because there's a white someone here who is being in the midst. And white people are meant not to suffer. Yeah. White people is like they are meant not to suffer. Suffering is for black people. When black people were crying all over, when black people were going through a lot, when we had refugees, black people, they didn't turn to anyone because this was their country. USA did not offer refugee to these black South Africans who were refugees, their land were taken from them. No country offered to help these black South Africans, apart from Nigeria that helped South Africa, but no Western countries, France, USA, offered to help them. Right now, the government of South Africa is taking back the lands, the historical lands, for those who don't have the rightful owner. Now, USA Donald Trump is there trying to put sanctions on South Africa. The one thing that I've learned from this topic, the one thing that I've learned is that all these countries, the foreign countries like USA, France, these countries that are superpowers, or the European Union countries, what they do whenever there is an issue with an African countries, they threaten to cut aids because they know we depend on their aid. That is the only thing they can do. Threatening to put sanctions and cut aids. But they don't want to help again. That's what they threaten us with it. It is high time African countries, some African leaders of these other countries, to look into this, how we are being treated by the foreign countries. They see us as beggars, and we ain't beggars. So, if you stop taking land from white South Africans, we will not give you food. We will not give you money to help yourself. We will stop. We are not beggars as African people. Let that sink in the head of some people. So, if there is something that has risen up, two countries, African country, maybe South Africa and USA, handle it amicably instead of you threatening us. Does that mean that South Africa cannot threaten you? Does that mean that South Africa cannot cut its aid to you? Does that mean that South Africa cannot stop you from coming and exploiting the country? If we Africans decide to start sanctioning these countries, do will not believe what will happen because your economy will go down. Okay? But because as African leaders, the countries has not believe in themselves. South Africa does not believe in their self. Kenya does not believe that they can do it. That's why we are being threatened by, oh, we will sanction you, we will stop the aid to your countries. God damn it. That does not mean that we are less. So you should stop threatening us as if we are beggars. That's what I'm trying to say. But on the other hand, white South Africans, I've seen them complaining about what's happening, which is bad. If these things are happening, the killings, the rape cases and everything towards Afrikaners, if these things are happening from black people, it's bad. Because black people, we do not have the history of doing these things. So let's not start the history now. It's bad. But again, I want to say this. There's a time when these things were happening to black people and black people were crying every day. It wasn't that serious to people. I've seen clips. I don't want to put the clips here because it's against to YouTube policies, but I've seen black South Africans being caned by Afrikaners, tied on a car, and then the car will move. I've seen a video where a black South African is put inside a coffin, and you know, black South Africans have gone through a lot in the hands of bad Afrikaners, not all Afrikaners, because white South Africans, a lot of them, they are good, but there's some few of them who took over the power, who were richer than the others, who saw black South Africans as slaves, and they have ruined the name of white South Africans. They have ruined the name of white South Africans. Now everyone see white South African as an enemy, but it's not all. It's not all. Okay? I have seen videos where some farmers, white farmers in South Africa, they are doing a lot of shit to black people. But all in all, because the white South Africans were the one with the good jobs, good paying jobs, the one with the farms and lands, no one talked about that. The time of Jim Crow law, no one talked about that. But right now, US will try to put sanctions on South Africa. And again, there is some good South Africans who have said no. Some white South Africans who have said no to Donald Trump. We are good. You've seen videos I've shown you. We are good. No, if you know you took a land illegally, just know one day or the other, the truth will come out. And when the truth come out, the land will be taken back. That's just like that. It's very simple. And that's why America has this policy to send all illegal immigrants out of America, which I accept. It's true. It's your country. And you're protecting your country. Then, even if South Africa started to take back illegal landowners, taking back the lands, it's okay. I believe it's good. But let's not do it in a cruel way, like we killing, we doing this. No. I believe the government of South Africa is not doing the atrocities to white South Africans. On the other hand, I have seen Donald Trump giving refugee to white South Africans, which is okay. I believe white South Africans, they are Americans. Maybe most of them came from, the Boers came from, I think, Germany, maybe some country, some from America. And they are rightful owner. The issue of black South Africans or white South Africans and the land issue, this is an African issue at large. African countries, all of them, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, we have illegal white settlers who took the land illegally. Okay? And if a government decides to take back that land, that means that it is not doing something bad. It will only be bad if they are cruel on it, if they are killing or doing those things that they are saying South Africa is doing. According to what Donald Trump has said, Donald Trump has said this, that South Africa new expropriation act claiming it enables the government to seize land from white farmers without compensation. Land was being seized from black people without compensation too. No one talked about when white colonizer or when colonizers took the land from black people. No one talked when black people was forcibly out of their lands without compensation. No one talked about when black people are refugees from their own countries because some foreign people have taken their land. No one's talking about it. No one is talking about when Congo people are being sent away from their land because foreign companies want to mine illegally. No one is talking about that. No one is talking about how black people have been suffering and are continuing to suffer for so long because white people or colonizer has taken their land. Because this is another race, the race that is favored, white race. Now I see Donald Trump coming in the midst, trying to say South Africa is doing it illegally. But nah, God damn it. It has been all two ways. What I'll pledge, these two governments to sit together, to speak if they want to help each other. If Afrikaners want to go back to America, it's an opportunity. If Afrikaners want to stay back in South Africa, it is their country too, because they have been born here. There are other stars who came here, them died, but the white South Africans who are in South Africa right now, I take them as Africans because they know this as home. Just as black Americans who are in Americans, they call America their land because they are born there. They raised there. They know that they don't know anywhere else. White South Africans too, they know South Africa as their land, but they have privilege. They have privilege more than black Americans. White South Africans don't face racism. They are not discriminated. They are getting high-paying jobs. They are being frontline every time. But black Americans, they didn't have the chance to take part even in growing generational wealth. They have been suffering all along up to now. So that was the reaction of South Africans. Both mixed, white South Africans, black South Africans towards Donald Trump. Tell me what you think on the comment section about this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until next episode, peace be with you.